right, y'all. So welcome back for another episode of It's Nothing But the Truth podcast. All right, y'all. So today I want to talk about some self-love. All right.
Yes.
So self-love, self-acceptance. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I just feel like, what's the new thing that they're doing now? Valentine's Day or something like that?
Yeah, it's a whole lot of different events they have now for Valentine's Day because everybody it's no reason for people to feel down when they don't have a significant other for Valentine's Day, because I feel every day should be really Valentine's Day.
That's right, especially for yourself.
Yeah, we have to learn as women. We have to learn to love ourselves first and validate ourselves first before we look for a significant other to validate us. So I feel like if you have yourself together and then you find a significant other, the right one, then you all pull together and be one.
Absolutely. Someone told me, I think an older lady told me, she was like, it's better when two whole people come together versus pieces of one person and pieces of another person. And I think that's what so many of us do. Like, we're broken, and then we'll meet another broken person, and we have this trauma bond, and then...
Right. And so I believe, when you really get serious about something, I believe in premarital counseling, relationship counseling. Tim and I used to be, years ago, when we're from my hometown, Tennessee, through our church, we were premarital counselors.
What?
Yeah.
Girl, now walk me through that, honey. I know y'all have some stories. I know y'all can't really share. But, so what did you see?
Well, when in the training, and it was very interesting, and it not only goes just for like a husband, wife, or a girlfriend, boyfriend. It can go for any type of relationship.
Really?
Because when people talk, everybody want to get their point across.
Gotcha.
So you have to just step back and let the other person talk. And then ask them, okay, so as I understand you correctly, this is what you're trying to convey to me.
Nah, people don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that because everybody wants to get their point across. And, I'm guilty of that too sometimes. But when you really think about it, and when you really trying to listen, somebody's really trying to tell you how they feel, you really in the back of your mind, you think about your comeback.
Right, you just think about the comeback, like, what you say?
What you say, let me know, okay, you didn't hear nothing they said.
Nothing.
So, in premarital counseling, one thing we learned, and it also helped us too, you step back, you listen, let the other person talk, and then you say, okay, so what I've heard you say, and I understand what you're saying is so and so. This is what you're saying, and you get a clear understanding. Then you give your viewpoint without interrupting. Now I'm a bad interrupter, sometimes.
Yeah, now I wasn't gonna say nothing about it, Lady J. Now, Jay, we gonna work on.
Yeah, because I'm listening, then I'll be like, oh, there's a thought coming to my mind.
Yeah. And then we be talking about something else. I'll be like, JonJelyn, we got to get back on track. Now, what did we talk about before?
Yeah, so that it goes like our relationships, or it can go with like any type of social, business relationships, couples. It all just depends on, is this a good technique to use?
That
is something
good.
I need to practice more often myself.
That is good. So maybe we can get all our homegirls together, and then we can do one, like some counseling. Because, girl, even in the female bonding situation, oh my God, stuff just goes so array sometimes.
Right. And then a lot of times people just have a misconception of what you're really trying to convey.
Yeah.
Because I have that, because I think it in my head what I want to say, but it doesn't come out that way. And so that's why I think I am a good writer also. Like, I can express my thoughts on paper.
Yeah, better.
And then saying, unless I write it out first to say what I'm trying to say, because I might say something that I'm really trying to convey, but the other person hears a whole nother way.
Gotcha.
So that's something I'm working on myself, and learning to express, get my point across directly, so that it can come across how I want them to perceive it.
Now, I do know that texting, right? So what I've learned to do is, especially when I know that a conversation can get a little heated, or I know that what I'm saying may not be coming across, like, it's just better to just pick up the phone, because even when you're texting people, stuff can come out totally different than how you
and even in emails.
Yeah.
Right, even in emails. And so that's why sometimes I do texts, I use like a little emojis. You know,
Oh, right. Yeah.
some different emojis because some things can come off across kind of harsh. And you really don't mean anything by it. Sometimes people do now.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you just ask them a direct question and then they might take it as a different way, perceive it another way.
So, what are some good self love techniques? Now, all right, so we are a little bit older, right? 40s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we still popping.
Millennial.
And we have kids. Our kids are millennials, right? And so, just kind of watching them and seeing how they interact. What I've noticed is, of course, there's this whole BBL phenomenon, right?
Yeah, everybody wants the BBL or their body mommy makeover. Mm-hmm. And it's not a bad thing, but you just have to be careful who you go through. I know people have gone over at the country and get the services and have complications. So you just have to be careful who you go to.
Listen, JonJelyn, I tell you no lie. So I think it was trending on social media one time. It was a plane that came back, I think, from Colombia to Atlanta, of course.
Really?
Full of girls in wheelchairs coming from BBLs.
Wow. They must got a whole group together.
I was like, they were wheeling them off the freaking plane. And it was like to the point where some of the airline, workers, they're like, this is not our job.
Right.
Like, they had like pumps.
Assistance.
They had pumps, like pumping the blood.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, that's not their job. And then they take them to these hotels and they're like, this is not our job to be doing this. So,
everybody using assistance for disabled. That reminds me of my cousin.
Oh my God! What?
She said she had too many bags, and she had to get her sisters to carry her bags to her baggage claim.
Oh my! Oh yeah, Denise. Oh my! We got to get Denise on here. Like,
we
she's
don't
a whole
here.
character.
A whole nother vibe.
But see, this is the thing, right? I'm from adult entertainment, right? That's my background.
Right.
And so we've been getting our bodies done, like, in the 90s. But it made sense for us because that's how we made our money.
Right.
But you got girls working at Burger King with a BBL. Like, what is the point? And they're trying to look like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. But it's like these people are at work. These people get paid to look like this. And then you have girls going into debt and all this stuff. And I'm just like...
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, too, is because of the social media, especially like Instagram, TikTok. They see the girls on there and they think... And a lot of times... Yeah. A lot of times those pictures are Photoshop.
Ooh.
But, but then sometimes a lot of young ladies do have their services done.
Yeah.
And so, social media can be tricky. And, if you stay on it, you think that somebody's doing something that you're not doing and you want to be like them.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you need to do it too.
Now, here's the thing. I have nothing against getting work done or whatever to make yourself feel better. What I do have a problem with is you doing it because somebody else is doing it or you feel like it's going to get you more men. But and I've noticed this for a while, but they've even been saying it on social media, a lot of the girls who had a lot of the work, they don't get married. Because that's not really what men are bringing home to their mothers. And I have a 22-year-old son, and I asked him, and he was like, "Nah, Mom. Like, I want something, I don't have a problem with a woman getting her, some services done, but I don't want her just looking like animated."
Yeah. And then then especially if they weren't born that way, if their genes is a whole nother way.
That's what I mean.
Then you have to think about how your kids, how, So I talk about everybody's kids,
what
but
these children gonna be looking like.
Yeah, but I believe in like anything that enhance yourself to make you feel more beautiful, and if you're doing it for the right reasons, then go ahead.
Yeah,
just make sure you're safe. Have a certified doctor.
Absolutely.
Even if you decide to go overseas, because it is certified doctors overseas that can. But just have to make sure you're not going to like a bootleg doctor or whatever.
All right, y'all. No more bootleg doctors.
No. Exactly.
Like, we don't want to see you daggone secreting all over the place and juices flowing. Like, get a doctor where you're not like bleeding out and stuff.
And then another thing, if the doctor a lot of times women go overseas, it's because like the doctors in the U.S., they will do their medical examination, they'll do their BMI, and they'll tell them they need to lose so much weight before they'll do it.
And they won't do it.
And then so they'll just go overseas
and get
it done and risk more complications.
Yeah. And see, I remember like back in the 90s, it was a thing because it was illegal. Like, it wasn't even legal. BBLs and all that stuff wasn't even around. So there were certain doctors that were going around, and you've heard these situations where they were putting cement and all that stuff in their bodies. Yeah, and that's how that stuff was happening. It's because, you know, all this stuff had not been board certified and all that stuff yet. So there were literally doctors going around, and it actually started in the gay community. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of the drag queens, there was a specific doctor here in Atlanta, a gay guy, and he would go around and do all the drag queens, and then he started doing all the strippers. So it just kind of went that way, and then now I'm looking at it, and it's like, so much of the stuff that we were doing in the clubs in the 90s is like regular everyday life now. Even the clothes, the fingernails. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. This is like stripper culture. That's like regular culture now.
Yeah, it's becoming like the norm. And I think a lot of it has to do with the social media. You know, because social media impacts, you know, people's perception of what they feel they should be like.
Yeah.
And that's really not, you know, and I like social media, but I'm going to get back active on it, but I don't just like spend my days all day on it.
Just scrolling.
Just strolling, looking to see what everybody else has going on. If I'm on there, I'm looking at business tips or networking tips or, you know, different things. But some people just look on there to see who's doing what. But then you have to realize that a lot of people, everybody has bad days. So nobody got a good day every day. So you only posting
every day.
Yeah. I think people want to see realness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, realness. Yeah, because they just post their good highlights, or they take selfies or whatever, and just post it, and you know, and nothing's wrong with doing the reels.
And then they put it in the apps, and then they put all the filters on it.
Nothing's wrong with branding yourself on social media.
Absolutely.
At all, but just don't try to
have some discretion.
Yeah, just don't try to keep up with the so-called Joneses of social media. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm all for self-love. You know, I had to relearn to love myself. Yeah, and you know, and so I have you know, just started internally with myself.
Yeah.
And so getting back to me and doing what I like to do. And so we all have a story. You know, I have a story. Shannon has a short story. Everybody has a story. And so we would love to network with other women, hear everybody's story. And just because we go through trauma doesn't mean you're doomed.
It doesn't.
No.
You can always come back, y'all. Like, no matter what, like, stay in prayer, stay faithful, and, you know, just keep your belief system. Keep positive people around you.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, that is so important. It's amazing to me that a lot of people will go through things and they won't change up their circumstances or the people around them. And people have no idea how impactful that is. Like, you keep these toxic people in toxic relationships. Like, that's so unhealthy.
It is. So, yeah, we all need to be around people that want to see each other win.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of people don't want to see you get ahead more than them. But I believe that you should. I believe that, you know, if you network, you know, one person bring one thing to the table, somebody else brings something else to the table, and you all just grow.
Yeah.
You know, and then just build. You know, because everybody's story, everybody's destiny is not the same.
You are absolutely correct. Like, and that's the thing. I tell my daughter, we just had this conversation the other day. I was like, comparison is the thief of all joy.
Right. Everybody has their own destiny, own story. If you try to live somebody else's life, or try to do what somebody else has done, you are forfeiting what God or your destiny is.
Absolutely, because your shoes don't fit that foot, right?
Exactly. Like, everybody has a story. Everybody's on their own individual path. That's what I believe. You know, and the paths that I've been on, you know, I don't know why we were called for it, but that's what we were called to do, and we did it.
Absolutely. You know, and that's so important. Like tunnel vision, stay focused on what you are supposed to be doing, your purpose, your goals. Because when you try to get into somebody else's lane, that's when you wreck.
I 100% agree. So we got a lot of talking more about that. I would love to just talk to other women about that and their struggles. And we, you know, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. You know, if you live this life, you born and before you die, you're only gonna go through trials and tribulations, and it's not what you go through, it's how you handle it.
That part.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, y'all, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of It's Nothing But the True Podcast. So make sure y'all check in every week, y'all. Also, make sure you're following the page. Make sure you're going to YouTube, subscribing, doing all of those things, right? Following. Make sure that you're going to join us on tour. I'm so excited to meet you guys. Make sure that you stay updated with the dates and everything. So, thank you so much for checking in with It's Nothing But the True Podcast. We'll see y'all later.
Bye, guys.